All right. Well, we had an interesting couple days here. You had Raw, and you had NXT on Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. Well, we're talking about the things that happened on Monday and Tuesday. Not a whole bunch of stuff there, but it bit jibs and drabs here or there, because that's what's important. Because this is, basically NXT and Raw now in a nutshell, right? But we're going to talk some stuff, have opinions on this. Probably go over the Backlash card as well, too. Do a little predictions there for everybody there, too, because you know what? Hey, why not? I'm Andrew. This is DA Wrestling. Ha! Let's just get going. Okay, on today's show, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit of NXT, talk a little bit of Raw. Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit of the Backlash stuff. Because you know what? Backlash is on Saturday. Card's pretty much up. 5 matches. Don't know if we're going to highlight that. We'll find out more probably on Friday. But hey, early predictions, basically what it is. And we're going to go from there. Now, that being said, let's start off with the Paul Heyman stuff. Because you know what? The Paul Heyman stuff there was interesting. Before I really get into that, though, make sure you do like, share, subscribe there, folks. We appreciate all the support you guys are giving us there, right? Please, it's on the right-hand side there. The little subscribe thing pops up. Thank you very much. We thank you for all the support in this channel. It's a small channel, Canadian channel. We are building slowly but surely. We were build. That's what we're up to, boys. That's what we're doing here. Small guy, basement room. Hey, what else do you want? Anyway, let's get going here. So Paul Heyman comes out on Raw, and he talks about how everyone blames him for what happened at, at WrestleMania. It's all his fault. Never anybody else's fault, but Paul Heyman's fault. And to be honest, Paul made a bunch of valid points, right? He didn't, why would Roman Reigns begrudge him of walking his best friend down the ring for WrestleMania? That promise that he made a long time ago. Why did Punk put him in that precarious position to do that? They're all valid. They're valid points, 100%, right? Seth was really the only one that really probably actually the most, I guess, I don't want to say sincere about it, but he was, and they have a vision between each other. The vision is for Seth to become the next world champion. And he did all this while talking to Jey Uso, who is your current WWE champion. Right? Because Jey wanted answers. Why did you do that to the bloodline? You were the wise man. Blah, blah, blah. Well, as we know now, he gave his reasons. And like I said, they're valid reasons. Right? But yeah, he's right though. Paul Heyman's always the bad guy, right? When Paul Heyman turned on Brock Lesnar, Paul was the bad guy. When Paul turned on Punk, a long time ago, he was the bad guy. It was never anybody else's fault, but it was Paul's fault. Paul did this, but you always saw at the point there was things that happened to Paul Heyman that caused it to happen. And I understand that completely because, quite frankly, some people in our life have been in those positions in life where it's always our fault and never someone else's. Well, it takes two to tango there, folks. So, baby, get rid of that stuff there, folks. Jesus. But later on in the night, we have getting a match for the world title because Seth wanted a match. He kind of go to Jey Uso. Paul Heyman kind of go to Jey Uso into it, and Jey Uso got his match. And meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself, my God, they're going to pull that title right off of Jey Uso that quick. A little wrong on that one, too. But yeah, it was a little early to do that. But, it's not on her. See, people would say that, well, yeah, we're going to do that. You don't have to let Jey Uso hold the title for a while. Yeah, but they've also done that crap before. John Cena, Rey Mysterio. Want to keep going? Anyway. He had the match there, right? It was a good match. It was one of the best matches on the entire night on Raw, right? Until people start getting involved. And you got very getting involved too because Seth Rollins is, he's playing this heel character now, even though he still gets relatively cheered. Right? Braun Breaker gets involved, right? Sami Zayn coming on down to try to help out Jey Uso, right? Punk comes on down eventually too to help try to get Uso, right? Leading to them running them off, going to the DQ there. Leading to probably a somewhere down the line, CM Punk and Jey Uso, or CM Punk and Sami Zayn, probably that so, versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Now, that was never announced for Backlash, but it'll probably happen maybe next week or next in a few weeks on Raw. We'll see what happens there. Because right now, that title is not going to be defended on Backlash at all. Right? Hey, it happens. Right? Secondly, we also had Roxanne Perez versus Io Sky. And a very well received match from everybody there. Back and forth, right? Io Sky delivering a lot of her high flying moves, really showing off Roxanne Perez here. Roxanne Perez lost, obviously, to Io Sky, right? She gave Io Sky a nice shake hand, a hey, good sportsmanship look. And then Giulia came up and backed her and had the back there and attacked them, and they all beat her up. Giulia as well as Roxanne Perez beat up Io Sky. Rhea was nowhere to be found because Rhea's in Australia right now doing a promo for a Perth show that's going on later on this year. So, as I said before, they're not completely on the main roster, but eventually will probably be on the main roster. But my question here is this. Why is Roxanne Perez consistently losing if you think so highly of her? Comment down below what you guys think, why this is possible. Roxanne Perez is a very talented girl. I mean, so is Giulia. Right? And we'll get to her in a bit. But you're bringing on Roxanne Perez here to do these things, which is fine. It's great. It's great, viewing of her. It's great to get her exposure. But you have her constantly facing people like Io Sky. Now, unless the long-term plan is eventually for Io Sky to lose that belt to Roxanne Perez, let you think about that for a second. There's no point to this. It really isn't. Now, if that's the where you want to go, hey, I'm all for that. I'm okay with Roxanne Perez winning that title over Io Sky if that's how they want to do it. Right? But as of right now, as I said last week, Giulia as well as Roxanne Perez are not scheduled to be on the main roster. They're still considered NXT talent. They're not being called up 100% at all. They're on a temporary call-up space. Why? Let them be on their full-time. If that's what you want to do it. Do it full-time. Speaking of Giulia had her match with Jordyne Grace to determine who would be the number one contender to face my lovely lady, Stephanie Vaquer, at Battleground on May 25th. I'm going to go ahead and say this first really quick. Now, Jordyne Grace won. Very good match. But there were some things in there that are very concerning, and some people put them out on social media. I'm going to address them right now. There was a couple times there where Jordyne Grace did one maneuver where she had her under her sides, and she flipped her over. I guess she was meant to land face first. Giulia was. She landed head back of her head first. Hard. You can tell she's visibly shaken up by it. Right? Now, mistakes are going to happen in the world of wrestling. That's partially on partially on both performers. That's a fact. A lot of wrestlers out there will defend both sides. Do I think Jordyne Grace deliberately tried to hurt Giulia? No. Not by any means. But do I think maybe they should watch what they're doing a little bit? Yeah. Jordyne Grace, she comes from TNA, right? It's a very good, reputable place, right? WWE, she's in development in NXT. to shine up a few things, make things a little bit more crisp, if you want to call it that. But they need to get these things right, though, too. Especially when it comes to the back of the head or back of the neck. There's currently an individual named Big E who is out probably permanently. Right? These things need to be addressed and be taught properly to it, right? And it's going to happen. These injuries happen. That is part of the game. But Jordy Grace needs to maybe watch herself. Her finisher, to be honest with you, is a little scary through a standpoint of safety. Because if that head doesn't get underneath that leg properly, right, or get down the way it should be, like so, and goes possibly neck first before she can flip him over, it's going to cause a serious problem. I'm not criticizing Jordy. I'm not here to criticize Jordan Grace and how she performs in her wrestling, but through a certain standpoint, through a fan standpoint, through a safety standpoint, she needs to maybe adjust a few things here and there. Right? Luckily, Giulia is professional enough and knows what's going on for her to be able to. But it was a little scary when you watched it there. Right? Comment down below if you guys think maybe maybe Jordy Grace isn't a safe worker. I've always appeared to be as a safe worker. I could be wrong. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with being wrong. People are wrong all the time. Look what's going on down south right now. Look what's going on all over the world. People are wrong all the time. Seriously. Messed up. Anyway. Stephanie Vaquer will be facing Jordy Grace at Battleground. Do I think right now Jordy Grace is going to win? No. I think everybody's too high on Stephanie Vaquer. I think Stephanie Vaquer right now is becoming the face of that women's division completely. And she'll eventually be the face of the women's division on the main roster. Somewhere down the line. Mark my words on it. She will be. Her popularity is that high. Okay? She will be the face of that division. We're getting FEMI versus a new but relatively unknown at Battleground. FEMI, who was waiting in the wings after this 25-man Battle Royal came in, which happened on NXT. Now, the who's who were some people from TNA were in it, some people from NXT were in it. Right? We had the return of Elias, also known as Elijah now. Right? Which is really cool. Everybody started cheering, "Walk with me, Elias." It was great. Hey, keep on looking like I want to say like an early 90s looking Keith Richards a little bit. With the hat, the guitar, and maybe even like a little bit of Stevie Ray Vaughan. But with a beard. Like a poor man Stevie Ray Vaughan. Anyway, it was really cool. It came down, though, to Javon Evans, Ethan Page, Sean Spears, and a relatively unknown who's been with No Code or Crutch crew named Miles Bourne. Miles Bourne ended up winning it after Ethan Page and Sean Spears eliminated Javon Curse, viciously, by the way, threw him over the top rope after they picked him up, like a baby in both hands. They tossed him over. Then he helped eliminate both Ethan Page and Sean Spears because they were kind of eliminating each other. So Miles Bourne won. Now, why is this significant? Well, Miles Bourne, I was doing some research on Miles Bourne. I didn't really know who he was. So I see some people online sitting there saying, "Oh, he's like Randy Orton's kid." He's not Randy Orton's kid. He looks a little bit like Randy, 100%. He's not Randy Orton's kid. He's a very young wrestler, relatively new. I think he's 25, 27 years old. He's also partially deaf. It's interesting, right? They're pushing him a little bit here in North Dakota catcher. Now, do I think he's going to make it to Battleground? I don't know, right? But I know Charlie Dempsey, right, who's the leader of North Dakota catcher, who has a problem with him facing him, and was going to offer to face FEMI for him, right? You get the title shot, but he refused to do that. FEMI he's going to face him next week. I think Femi's going to kill Charlie Dempsey. But it also lead up to possibly being a three-way match. Okay, keep that in mind. We might get a three-way out of it. I don't think that's really going to happen. Femi said he doesn't want to do three ways anymore. He doesn't like them. Okay, fine. But it's really good to see now. I don't. I think Miles Borges doesn't get slaughtered by Femi. But I think there might be a little card up the sleeve here somewhere. I think Shawn Michaels might have a little card up his sleeve somewhere. Dibbles that. Don't know what yet, but we'll find out. Also, we're getting Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams for the TNA World Title. Comment down below if you think Joe Hendry's going to lose that TNA title. If this is going to be the first title that if we're going to see, not so much it's the first title, if we're going to see the world title on TNA be taken over to NXT with an NXT guy winning it, holding it. I personally don't see it. I think it's going to be a good match there, right? Joe Hendry did cost Trick Williams the match, right? Got help get him eliminated. Whereas Trick Williams earlier in the night, right, caused a distraction to Joe Hendry. And Joe Hendry lose in the opening match of the 6-man tag. So they both got each other, right? I think it's gonna be a good match overall. I think Joe Hendry is probably gonna win that match overall and cause Trick Williams just to lose his mind some more. Good, good. I'm the biggest fan of Trick Williams. It's not. I just don't find he doesn't appeal to me. You know, no, he just doesn't. Oh, Femi though, I love Femi. I love Femi when I stand delivered to beat the crap out of him. It was great. Loved it. That's pretty much, for the most part on NXT there, folks. I mean, they didn't mention anything obviously about Peyton Paxley because obviously she lost her tag team partner Gigi Dolan recently. So they didn't talk about anything about that. We did get Kalani Jordan versus Zarya. And Zarya won. I'm still waiting on this Zarya heel turn. I really am. I just don't see this Zarya versus uh Sol Roca going over very well after a while. I just don't see it happen. I don't see Zarya just sitting there taking it for a while. I just don't. But hey, we'll find out then we're down the line there what happened. I think there's going to be a heel turn on Zarya's side, right? Although Sol's looking really good lately. I'm not going to lie to you. She's really grown on me, actually. Her finisher is phenomenal. Her finisher is like one of those like really sneaky, cool moves. Like you really just hit from anywhere. Sneaky good. It really is. And I love Zarya's F5. Like it's quite good. Anyway, Backlash. This Saturday coming up. We'll go over the card here, see what I think here. Now, Backlash is after WrestleMania. It's kind of a throwaway pay-per-view, to be honest with you. Right? It's not one of those things where people very rarely do you see a title change happen at Backlash. I mean, I can't say it happens all the time. It doesn't happen at all because it does happen from time to time. I just don't see, look at the card, though, if it's really going to happen. The only is maybe they're all title matches minus the Pat McAfee Gunther match. We're going to start with that one there. Do I think Pat McAfee is going to beat Gunther? No. I think Gunther needs to win right more than anybody thinks he does. I think Pat McAfee's going to get smashed by Gunther. I could be completely wrong on this one, too. Right? Unless you're going to have Gunther go through like an utter breakdown of everything, I'm going to take Gunther to win this and just beat the living crap out of and choke out Pat McAfee. I just see it happening. Yeah, there's not even another basis for it. Right? Unless they're going to pull the trigger and have Gunther go on this like losing streak, or also he just loses his mind. But hey, sometimes good can't triumph over evil, folks. Hey, seriously, it just can't sometimes. We're also going to have a Dominic Mysterio versus Penta for the Intercontinental title. It's going to be a good match. It's going to be really good. You have two very extreme, a really, Dominic Mysterio has improved so much over his time in WWE, learned from some of the people like his father, old video footage of Eddie Guerrero, people have being in the ring with Seth Rollins, obviously Penta now, right? he's learning a ton of stuff. Do I think Penta's going to lose? Absolutely. I don't see him winning the title here at all. It just makes no sense to me at this point for this right now. Down the line, 100%. But right now, I think Dominic Mysterio is going to win this match. Right? If he loses, it's going to be because Finn Balor caused it. But I think Finn Balor wants that IC title. I think he wants to beat Dom for it. So I think he's going to help Dominic Mysterio to win just so he can get that title shot against Dom. We're going to a fatal four-way match for Drew McIntyre, who is the number one contender. But then Damian Priest snuck himself into there as well as LA Knight because he wanted his rematch. So, Jacob Fatu is going to fight all four there, and he's going to moonsault everybody. And he's going to walk out the champion. Drew's not going to win. I hate to break it to you guys. LA Knight is not going to win. Damian Priest is not going to win. Jacob Fatu is going to beat everybody up. As he should. That man deserves a statue to him in Egypt. Or Samoa. Now, moving on to the only title I really see, the only two I see, the only title I really see changing here, to be honest with you, really is the IC title. I think Becky Lynch is going to beat Lyra Valkyria, right? I think Becky is going to do some a little bit of cheating to win, right? Although she hasn't been talking a lot of smack about Bayley, so it wouldn't surprise me if Bayley does come out in order to lose, to cause Becky to win, but maybe inadvertently causes Lyra Valkyria to lose. Which is quite possible that might happen. That's all I gotta say about that, really. Becky Lynch, I think, is gonna win. I think Becky's gonna try to make that title more relevant. I mean, to be honest, to me, Becky doesn't need to make that title more relevant. You just keep it Lyra and actually give Lyra more opportunities on TV with the title. I don't think Becky needs it at all. I deep down hope that Lyra wins, but I think Becky's going to take this. John Cena versus Randy Orton. It's really hard to pick this one because part of me feels that John has lost the title within a month before. It's happened. Look at his career. Look at his career. Look at the video that we did on title reigns. My longest title reigns with the WWE title. John at times held that only for 30 days. It happens. Do I think they're going to pull the title on Randy? Yeah, I think. I mean, old adages go. You never win. You never win in your own hometown, unless you're CM Punk, or Edge, or Trish Stratus, or Brett. So there obviously is points in time where it has happened. So it's a possibility that here, I might just wave the white flag on this one and say, well, whoever wins, I'm happy with. But I have to say, I'm probably gonna say John's gonna win. I think we're gonna get another match with Randy down the line there. I think Randy does get that title, that win. But the question is whether or not he's gonna happen on Saturday. It's hard to say. I think John's gonna win right now. Yeah, I think John's gonna win. I think John's gonna hold that title probably for a little bit. Anyway, guys, that's predictions. That's DA Wrestling. That's the episode for today. Not much else really to talk about there. Hope you enjoyed it. This is DA Wrestling. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials. I am DA Wrestling on X. Also, my personal one being AMP1982. Right? D Lions. Now, he's done somewhere times on here. He's a little busy at these point in times right now. That's Doug, D Lions. He's the D in the DA. Also, yeah, on TikTok, where we post all our thumbnails, right? For our current video, for every episode that we do. If you see it up there, cool little thumbnail, that's us. Give us a click, give us a follow, give us a like, share it to your friends. Hey guys, thanks a lot. This is DA Wrestling going out. By the way, Leafs won up 2-0 against Florida. Get more excited if they get the Eastern Conference Final, folks. Seriously, it's the Leafs. Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Bye.